Hey everyone, astrokit here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. Today we're talking about glowing up and the top 5 signs you know you're about to have a major glow up in astrology. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. Here on my channel, I like to talk about astrology, but also combining it with modern topics like this one, glowing up, which is a major topic we all know about by this point. Glowing up just means a positive transformation. So how exactly can we see this transformation happening in your birth chart? We're going to find that out by the end of this video and find out what kind of glow up you're about to have and what kind of planets, planetary energies trigger this glow up and how you can predict it time-wise. So let's walk through how we can predict this. So the concept in this video has to do with this thing called planetary transits. So we'll get to transits in a second, but the first thing that we have to know for this video is that what deals with our physical appearance. We know that a glow up means that you look better. You went from looking one way to looking another way. Maybe you lose weight, you gain weight, you change your hair. Those are the kind of things we associate with a glow up. It is kind of a superficial topic, but it can be spiritual and energetic, which we'll get into in the 5 signs in a second. In your birth chart, your natal chart, there's 12 houses that you have. A lot of you guys know that already. And the first house represents your physical appearance, how you appear in the world, your physical presentation. And so when you have certain transits to your first house, this changes your appearance. So what exactly is a transit? A transit is when a planet goes through a certain sign for a certain amount of time. Now I'll put on the screen right now, each of the planets go through a certain sign for a certain time period. The outer planets, it's longer, the inner planets, it's shorter. So like the sun will go through a certain sign for 30 days. And that is like, for example, Aquarius season for that 30-day time period. So if you had Aquarius first house, Aquarius ascendant, that means the sun's going through your first house. So that's essentially the key topic concept we're learning in this video is like, when you have first house transits, what kind of glow up do you have? Each planet is so different. It causes different changes in our appearance, literally, which I feel like that's such a cool part about astrology. It's like you literally have a change in appearance because this planet's going through your first house, this planet's going over your ascendant sign, and that changes you drastically. And that is the concept of a glow up, drastic change, major change. Hopefully positive change for the better. So we're gonna see what planets cause what kind of glow up based on how they transit your first house. How exactly do you track transits? How do you check what planet is in what sign? Now you can do this pretty much on any astrology app that you have. I recommend Time Passages. As you guys can see on the screen right now, Time Passages will tell you, okay, Venus is in Pisces right now, Jupiter's in Aries right now. So you can just see, since we're only talking about the first house, the ascendant in this video, if you have that ascendant, you can just clearly see like, okay, Aries ascendant, Jupiter's in your first house right now. This video really is relevant to you. So you can clearly see that this planet is in this sign, and if that sign is your first house, it's your ascendant, then that is triggering the glow up. That's the kind of concept we're talking about in this video. You can also use astro.com, Cosmic Insights. There's so many resources. I think I'll put some screenshots on the screen, but just make sure you're following the transit. This isn't talking about like your natal first house placement, but like Jupiter going through a certain sign, is that your first house? Saturn going through a sign, is that your first house? And then you guys can see the time period of each of the planetary transits. We're only talking about the relatively shorter transits in this video, so not the super long ones, but yeah, so that's where you can track the transits. If you guys aren't new to this, you're true to this, you know your transits, you know your first house transits. So that is just to clarify if you are seeking a place to see where you can track transits on a regular basis. So the first sign you're about to have a major glow up has to do with Venus. Now Venus is the planet we could probably symbolize and use to represent the whole concept of a glow up. We know that Venus represents beauty, aesthetics, looking better, having your aesthetics be on point. And so if you have Venus transiting your first house, this means that your beauty becomes enhanced. You want to be more beautiful. You put more effort into your physical appearance. And Venus transits one sign for about 28 days. So that's not a long amount of time, but it is a good amount of time to glow up. So if you're going through a first house Venus transit right now, it's likely that you have Pisces ascendant because Venus is in Pisces. And then in a few days or several days, I have to check the time, Venus will go into Aries, and then Taurus. So we all kind of get a turn with Venus here, and Venus will glow us up in that 28-day time period. Also with this Venetian glow up that you will have with Venus going through your first house is you're in attraction mode. You're attracting attention. You're attracting especially romantic attention. You could find during this transit that you attract people asking you on dates, and not just romantically, but just like socially. People are paying attention to you. You're in the spotlight. People are admiring you, showing you adoration. That is the key here with Venus. And also part of this glow up package is finding material items that are like really on point with your aesthetic. So sometimes we go shopping, we don't find stuff, but with Venus transiting your first house, this helps your glow up because you find your exact aesthetic. You find maybe a piece you've been looking for, a jacket, a shirt, something like that, that matches you exactly, that matches your Pinterest board, and you're able to kind of like mix and match and find all these beauty pieces and beauty applications that have to do with hair and makeup. This is the time where you find that perfect dress that fits you perfectly, that's like the perfect color, and it's like so serendipitous to find it exactly. And then also in that same vein of beauty and aesthetics and material things, you have good beauty services. You go to a facialist, you go to a makeup artist, maybe you get your hair done. It's a really good time to like change your hair during Venus transiting the first house, taking care of your hair, taking care of your skin, and just beautifying yourself in general. And by the end of Venus transiting your first house, you see this major beautification of yourself, this major glow up, and even attracting more people and attention because of this glow up. Since Venus represents the superficial aspects of life and pleasure and aesthetics, that's exactly the kind of glow up you're going to have with Venus. And I would say it's probably the most like quintessential glow up with Venus going through your first house. Okay, so the second sign you're about to have a major glow up has to do with Jupiter. Jupiter transiting your first house. Jupiter stays in one sign for about 12 months, so about a year. This is a year-long glow up, and years go by pretty quickly. So you see a lot of progress and positive transformation with Jupiter going through your first house. Now, the first thing I want to identify that you can see with a Jupiter type of glow up is belief, especially self-belief. Since we're talking about the first house in this video, representing self, what you look like, your sense of identity, Jupiter is going to inspire you, make you feel more positive, optimistic, believing in yourself. And I feel like that's the first seed of like confidence, of doing anything or having success in the world is like, do you believe in yourself? Do you believe in who you are, your identity? So you see this increase of confidence with Jupiter going in your first house. And Jupiter, we know it's about expansion, limitlessness. So you see less limits on yourself, less limits on self-expression, what you can do, how you approach life. And you see a huge glow up with your sense of self-belief. Now, this Jupiter first house transit is also really special just because you attract more opportunities. We know Jupiter represents luck, fortune, and it's just like a magnet for good energy. So this is what you're embodying, especially this 12-month period or so with Jupiter going through your first. It's like you feel more optimistic, you feel more lucky, you have lucky circumstances, you attract more opportunities to you. You are a magnet for favorable circumstances, favorable things, and especially if you didn't feel like this, I feel like with the Jupiter first house transit, it's such a huge difference because usually you might not feel like that on a regular basis, but Jupiter brings so many blessings your way easily, brings you fortune easily, and you see that increase in fortune in general to yourself with this Jupiter themed glow up. And then also with this Jupiter type of glow up, you see your growth in influence, growth in popularity, growth in status. With Jupiter, it represents society, it represents global outreach. So this could be something you experience during this kind of glow up. It's like suddenly you're connected with people that are like from a different demographic from you. You kind of have this outreach, maybe on social media, in your career. It's like you have this growth of social influence, and even popularity is seen here to grow with Jupiter going through your first. Now, the physical appearance manifestation with Jupiter going through your first can mean that you do gain weight. We hear this word that we've been talking about, growth, expansion with Jupiter. So you can grow your weight or put on weight unintentionally. You can have a weight goal that you want to reach. Maybe you want to gain more muscle, gain more fat, lose fat. So you have that kind of fluctuation in weight with Jupiter, but it kind of leans towards gaining weight with Jupiter going through your first. And also Jupiter going through the second house can bring weight gain as well. It could bring growth. Maybe you're trying to grow your hair, grow your wardrobe. You see this expansion with how you present yourself physically. So you're just kind of adding things that will make you look your most desired appearance. And the last thing we can kind of touch on with Jupiter is that it represents your higher mind, your higher frequency, this theme of optimism, good vibes, basically. So Jupiter going through your first brings you this glow up, kind of literally in the sense where you feel very glowed up. You feel spiritually aligned. You feel spiritually high vibrational, and through that high vibration you attract more opportunities, you attract attention, popularity, you attract influence, or you become more influential in the world. And then physically speaking, this can just manifest as gaining weight. Some of you guys can maybe even have like a growth spurt maybe during Jupiter going through the first, depending how old you are. So that's Jupiter and how that might glow you up with that transit. So the third sign of a major glow up in your life has to do with Saturn. Dun, dun, dun. Saturn, we know we're a little bit scared of Saturn. Saturn represents restriction, limitation. But here's the good thing I'll tell you guys with Saturn going through your first house. This means that it increases your discipline. It increases your ability to say no to certain things, to have stricter boundaries. So this theme of restriction we see with Saturn, this theme of limitation, can seem like a negative thing sometimes, but the positive thing is that when it comes to glowing up, which is basically self-improvement, it takes hard work, it takes effort, and Saturn will give you that energy you need to work harder, to put in effort at the gym, to meet your weight goal, to meet your most desired appearance. Now, Saturn goes through one sign for 2.5 years. It definitely usually feels longer than that. Saturn is a slow-moving planet. Saturn energy is very slow. So this is the kind of glow up you have that is gradual. It's not like maybe like the Venus first house glow up or like Jupiter first house glow up. It's like you're gonna see results of your glow up slowly over time. Month by month, it's not the fastest glow up in the world. Essentially, Saturn also will bring you this sense of seriousness, the sense of maturity. You have this sense of wisdom about you, which also contributes to your glow up as an adult. If you're watching this, you're probably in your 20s, and we all go through the perils of our 20s. It's like you have to learn from your mistakes, you have to fix your mistakes, and then use the wisdom you have to make better decisions, and you have to develop into a more mature person. It is inevitable. So Saturn emphasizes that kind of energy, emphasizes that behavioral glow up, that mental glow up of like needing to be mature and disciplined and have limitations with what you eat, with what you do, with what you consume. And you can see yourself becoming more restrictive with the Saturn first house transit. We can see this metaphorical imagery with Saturn is the diamond. You have to press the coal to get a diamond. You don't just get the diamond right away. That is the kind of glow up you have. It's like pressure, pressure, pressure. You feel the pressure until you become that diamond towards the end of the transit, or throughout the transit, you see yourself becoming better. You see a lot of self-improvement coming your way, and it's the kind of self-improvement that you initiate, that you have to go through, that you have to put effort into. This isn't really like the magical, like sudden glow up transit. This is like you putting in that work and you see the results, period. So that's exciting. I feel like that's one of the most permanent transits or fruitful transits where it's like once you put in the work, no one can really take it from you. And by the end of the Saturn first house transit, you become your most desired weight, your desired aesthetic, your desired face. And through that self-improvement, you glow up quite a bit with this transit. So the fourth sign of a major glow up based on astrology transits has to do with the North Node. Now, this is one of the most important transits that I feel like we don't talk about enough when it comes to the North Node shifting signs. North Node going into your first house is extremely important, if not one of the most important moments of your life. Now, the North Node stays in one sign for 18 months. The South Node also stays in one sign for 18 months. They sit exactly opposite each other. And the North Node is also called Rahu in Vedic sidereal astrology. So at some points I might start describing it as Rahu, but just know that Rahu and North Node are the same thing, it's just like different names. So with the North Node Rahu going through your first house for that 18-month chunk of time, you see a lot of rapid transformation in your physical appearance. This emphasizes your need to focus on yourself in general. It creates this theme overall of self-obsession. Rahu, the entity, the energy of the North Node, represents exaggeration. So throughout that 18 months, you're really focused on your goals, promoting yourself, developing yourself, self-improvement in general, glowing up in general is really seen with this. Almost out of all the placements I talked about in this video, this is really exaggerated with North Node Rahu going through your first house. So with Rahu going through your first house of your ascendant sign, you will most likely change your appearance when it comes to artificial enhancements. Maybe you get extensions, you get lash extensions, you start wearing more makeup, maybe you want to get some sort of plastic surgery. This is the time period where you feel compelled to do that, inspired to do that, and that could be a part of your glow up. As we know here in the Western world, we see that cosmetic surgery, plastic surgery is a commonality in society these days, and it's a huge part of a lot of people's glow ups. A lot of people use surgery, plastic surgery, to get to how they want to look. That is what glowing up is all about, is looking better, looking like your desired aesthetic, looking like your best self. So this is the time where you really make a lot of strides towards achieving your desired look, whether that be through artificial enhancements, through a new wardrobe, through focusing on your public image. Rahu here during this time period makes you more extroverted with your sense of self. You want to put yourself out there. Maybe you want to become famous. You want to put yourself out there on the internet and be like, here I am, here's my aesthetic. And it increases this need for recognition, fame, attention. I have this short on my channel, this TikTok that I posted, where we were talking about how when North Node goes through a certain zodiac sign, that zodiac sign tends to gain fame. So right now the North Node's in Taurus, so the whole duration of the North Node being in Taurus, we could see Taurus placements gaining fame, gaining more attention, glowing up, especially Taurus ascendant. And that's just the example for right now, but it only stays there for 18 months. So all of us have pretty much already experienced probably the North Node going through our first house, whether it be in the past couple years and the years moving forward. It's a relatively quick transit. So we all have our chance and opportunity in the spotlight with Rahu going through our sign or going through our ascendant. It definitely increases fame, attention, and a very rapid glow up for us when you have that transit of North Node going through your ascendant. The fifth sign we can see with your glow up has to do with the South Node. Now the South Node is the opposite of the North Node. It's called KETU in Vedic astrology. So you have Rahu KETU, North Node, South Node, the same words for the same entities. So basically with KETU, now this is a really interesting one with KETU going through your first house. This emphasizes this theme of detachment. We were talking about with Rahu, this theme of obsession, artificial enhancement, but with KETU, it's the exact opposite. So suddenly with KETU going through your first house, the kind of glow up that you have is more spiritual. It's more about self-development. It's about your inner journey, your intangible journey. Suddenly maybe you don't want to have any artificial enhancements on your body. You get rid of your lash extensions, you get rid of your hair extensions, you stop fake tanning, you want to be as natural as possible. That is very likely and very common with KETU going through your first house. Suddenly you're like, strip down, take it off. I don't want this, I don't want that. I'm going 100% natural. And especially for those of us who maybe have like curly hair and stuff, it's like maybe you have a big chop. You stop putting relaxer in your hair. You stop putting like those treatments to alter your hair texture, and you just go natural. That's kind of like the physical glow up. And then also you could see this with your eating patterns, eating diet habits, etc. KETU going in the first house will kind of trigger you to maybe not eat meat anymore. Maybe you don't want to eat sugar. You cut out certain foods, you cut out dairy. Things are definitely being removed from you when it comes to KETU going through your first, since KETU, the South Node, represents removals. So it's kind of a scary time a little bit. It's a bit alienating, but I feel like that's kind of incubation space we need for a glow up. It's like you need to be alone, you need to alienate yourself for a second just to like put your pieces together. Then you see this glow up throughout this 18-month period of time with KETU going through a certain sign. The vibe here with the South Node going through your first house, KETU going through your first house, is all about authenticity. It's about aligning with your truest self, your truest path, your truest spiritual aspirations. And I will say that the glow up here is definitely very spiritual. I see a lot of spiritual self-development, spiritual self-improvement with KETU going in your first. A lot of times it is seen to be very drastic. It is the kind of dynamic where it's like you just suddenly stop wearing makeup, you chop off your hair, and you go to foreign lands to study a certain topic, and you isolate yourself to study spirituality. It's like that kind of drastic theme here. You want to develop yourself spiritually, and you're really detached from the material world. So you see that huge jump here with Rahu being obsessed with the material world, Rahu going through your first, it's like artificial this, fame, blah, blah, blah. And then KETU going through your first is like, I'm detached, I'm isolated, I don't want anything artificial, let's just be real, let's be authentic. And KETU here will strip you down and align you with your truest self in this kind of glow up. So that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know in the comments your own personal glow ups. What kind of glow ups have you experienced with these different first house transits? And if you have any questions, leave them down below, and I'll see you guys in my next video.